Our coverage of this story continues. We, of course, have been checking in with people like Marilyn and elsewhere in the country as the Idle No More events continue across Canada. Here in studio to share her thoughts on the movement is actress and longtime activist Tantoo Cardinal.
First of all, thank you so much for joining us. We know that you've been a longtime activist. Lots of questions, but let's start with your thoughts on today, the Day of Action. What do you make of what's going on across the country?
I think it's terribly exciting. And I liken it to a ground fire that's been smoldering for a long, long time. It's generations, generations. There are people who have committed their entire lives for better understanding, to try to get some justice, to try to get some truth about what was signed, what was that agreement, what were the treaties. And they've just been so misrepresented for generations. And the tactics used to make sure that the truth wasn't known, to look at what's been taught in the schools, what's been put into people's minds. And people know now, and it's fairly recent knowledge, what was done with our communities, children taken away, leaving parents with no children to raise, leaving grandparents with no place to feed their wisdom. And then those children, asides being all the abuse and malignment that went on, being taught that their heritage, where they come from, was of the devil. So the church was involved, the government was involved, corporations were involved. It was a three-legged stool. And at the same time, non-Indigenous people, their children were trained about who we were. So it's really kind of a big muddle in a mucky mess that has to come out for that healing to occur.
You talked about sort of a wildfire that's been brewing for a long time, and I'm curious.
It's a smolder.
A smolder,
and now it's
coming up.
ignited.
How do you think it differs, if I can ask you this, from, let's say, previous crises or previous situations we've seen? For example, the Oka crisis in Quebec or elsewhere. How does this differ from that in your mind?
Well, in my mind, and that's just one mind, is that with Oka, the sentimentality is very much what's going on right now, right today. It's about land, it's about dignity, it's about justice, it's about what's right, about being seen as human beings with a right to life. We were put here by the Creator just the same as everybody else was. And I would no way try to interpret for the Hongahoe people, you know, exactly what was going on there. But what I talk about as smoldering, those kinds of battles have been going out all over the country for generations and generations and generations. And there's stories coming up on Facebook about people taking trips to Ottawa in the 1920s and the 1940s. And it's been a constant thing that's been going on. And I think what happens here is that C-45 has really made us one, in that C-45 illustrates what governments have been doing to Indigenous people. But what's happened this time is that it can't be identified as just Indigenous. We are the ones that are standing up because we are the ones that have the contract with Creator, with creative force. What's in those treaties is it's a responsibility to natural force, for lack of a better term. It's a responsibility to be caretakers of this land. We were here. We were here. And the blueprint of how to relate to our mother, our sacred Mother Earth, she is alive. And what that means is that we have responsibilities. As she feeds us, and she is constantly giving, and always working towards balance, we have responsibilities towards that. But the people who know everything, who have decided that we are primitive and have no sense of civilization, have decided that we have nothing to offer and then we don't know nothing, you know.
Tantoo, if we go with your description of a smoldering fire, I mean, some would say the spark, what triggered what we're seeing now is essentially a hashtag on Twitter, Idle No More. I'm curious what you make of the Idle No More movement and where you see it going.
Well, what it is that spark that's ignited and said, yes, we have responsibilities to the water, we have responsibilities to the land, we have responsibilities to life, and no government, no corporation, no nobody can stand on our necks and say that that's not right. And so what I see Idle No More doing is gathering more and more and more of that flame and standing in that light of truth. The Mayan calendar is over and it re-begins. It starts again. And it's a cycle of truth and it's a cycle of light. And Idle No More is connecting with the planet, all over Indigenous people, people connected with the land and water. If you drink water, you should be paying attention. Don't be distracted. It's not just about treaties. And besides that, treaties belong to everybody. Everybody who's on this land was a part of the signing of that treaty.
What is your take on the relationship now between Aboriginals in Canada and non-Aboriginals? And I ask you that because there was this poll out that I want to make reference to that showed, I guess fair to say, kind of a hardening of attitudes a little bit out there by non-Aboriginal Canadians about what's going on here. And some people were talking about, you know, just some pretty hardening attitudes that are happening here. And you can see here, you know, the idea of financial accountability and different things. I mean, are you worried about how this is going to go forward and what's going to happen in that relationship between the two peoples, so to speak?
Well, you use the term hardened. No, it's the same. It's not hardened. It's just what it is. And that attitude
so it's sort of the truth coming out kind of thing?
Yes, it's the truth coming out.
Okay.
It's always been there.
In this day of action, we've seen some blockades across the country of rail, roads, etc. And we know that the organizers of Idle No More are not in support of the blockades, but some chiefs are. Who to follow? What do you make of these blockades?
I think you have to follow your inner voice. And I know for me, I've always, you know, I believe in peace and light. That's what we're defending, is that we're standing in the energy of the earth needs healing. She will heal. She will look after business. And that tar sands is a big cyst. It's a big cancerous cyst. And that's just an example of so much that's going on all over the planet. She will heal. And for me, it's to stand in that energy that feels right to you. And as women, we have a certain responsibility, and as men, we have a certain responsibility, and it's the combination of those energies that make it a whole. So, but I think peace is absolutely the way to go. Violence really doesn't get anything done except more violence. And peace is connected with love, and it's all going to be nice. But there's a lot of work to do. It's hard. It's hard, and it's been set for a long time. And what I think Idle No More is doing is it's bringing it all out so it can move and it can start to heal.
Actress and activist Tantoo Cardinal, thank you so much.